Greetings, mighty companions. Anna Kujawa here, and we are reading and learning from A Course in Miracles like we always do on Monday nights. And like I always do on my sessions, I start with an opening meditation to allow our minds to settle and to relax and to open, to make us more receptive for these ideas in A Course in Miracles, which are so loving and healing. And so we're going to do that for about 5 to 10 minutes. We are going to quiet our minds and open our minds and join our minds to let our minds rest in the present moment to get ourselves ready. So what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes and take a breath. And close your eyes. We are going to allow our minds to retire from the world for a few moments. We're going to allow our minds to have a spiritual vacation from the world, from fear, from our planning, from our scripts, from our agendas, from our expectations, from our ideas, and we're going to allow our minds to just rest, in faith, in a higher power, in a higher love. We're going to allow our minds to rest for a few moments in the love that cares for us, that supplies us, that sustains us unconditionally. We're going to allow our minds to rest in the love that requires that we do nothing to receive it all the love, all the support, all the power. And so we say to our minds, I rest in God. I rest in truth. I rest in the love that supplies me and sustains me unconditionally without me needing to do anything to earn this love. I rest in love, and I need do nothing. Let's rest our minds in that idea. I need do nothing, for I am unconditionally sustained and loved by love. And breathe that in for a moment. Let your mind rest for a moment. I need do nothing, for I am unconditionally loved and supplied and sustained by love itself, and I will rest in that. I rest in God. I am sustained by unconditional love. I need do nothing to receive all the love, all the support, all the supply, because I am the beloved child of the universe. unconditional support, the unconditional sustenance that you are being bathed in right now and forevermore. Feel the truth that you need do nothing to receive all of the love and the support and the sustenance. I need do nothing. Unconditionally loved and supported and sustained you are by this friendly, loving universe that loves you and supports you and knows you. Feel what it feels like to know you are supported, to know you are sustained. Tell yourself, I need do nothing, for I am loved and sustained unconditionally by this loving universe. And breathe it in. Feel how loved and supported and sustained you are by the love that is life, that is the universe, that is your source. See if you can lay down your plans and your scripts and your needs and your agendas and your defenses. Lay them down and feel yourself being supported, protected, supplied, sustained. You cannot have a need that love hasn't already met. You don't have a problem that love hasn't already answered. Your one problem has already been solved. You are safe. You are loved. You are supported. You are sustained. You are cared for unconditionally. You are already completely forgiven. And now we just breathe it in and feel it. Let yourself feel the truth for a few moments. Give your consciousness a vacation from fear for a few moments and let yourself rest in the truth of your being, the truth of how loved you are. You can pick back up your fears later if you want, but for a moment lay them down and feel being supported, sustained, protected, loved unconditionally. It's the truth. And so we let ourselves be healed by this for a few moments. You don't have to believe it completely to allow yourself to be blessed, to be healed by it. Feel it. I rest in God. I am sustained by God's love for me. And so I need do nothing. This holy instant that is eternal, in which only love is real, I need do nothing. It's already all been done. It's already all been done for us, unconditionally. Course in Miracles asks us to ask ourselves this question: can you imagine what it is to have no cares, no worries, no anxiety, but to be at peace forever? Ask yourself this question, because this is your inheritance. This is what has already been offered you at no cost, forever. And so I will rest. Just begin to bring your awareness back to your body, back to the room that you're in, back to the chair or the couch or the floor that you're sitting on, remembering that you can return to this oasis within, this holy relationship within, any time and any place for free. Oh, beautiful. And then just take a breath and come on back. I know. You're like, no, I don't want to come back. Don't make me. All right, guys. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Yummy, yummy to my spiritual tummy. Feels so good. Doesn't that feel good? Yeah. It's like a spiritual bath. It's like a spiritual wash, you know. Anybody ever told you that you've been brainwashed? Yes, I'm like, yes, that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm going for every Monday night. I'm trying to wash my brain. I need a big brain scrubbing, you know, from all the fear and the guilt and the stress and the strain that I have learned is natural. Anybody else learned that? That fear is natural, stress and strain and lack and guilt, that's natural. Well, I'm having to do a massive brainwash. And that's what A Course in Miracles. So yes, A Course in Miracles does have the purpose of washing your brain. It was true what they all said about A Course in Miracles being brainwashing. Yes, but in the best possible way. All right. So, welcome to everybody who's watching. Welcome to Steve and Deborah and Alan. Wonderful to have you guys joining us. So, where we are at today is we are in the clarification of terms, which is the very last book in the course. The Course in Miracles contains 4 books: the text, the workbook, the teacher's manual, and the clarification of terms. So it's at the very last part of the book, and it's the second section in the clarification of terms. So see if you can find it. If you have any issues finding it, just let me know. And let me know when you got it. Okay, so you guys, we are clarification of terms. It's the last book in the four parts of A Course in Miracles, and we're talking about forgiveness. This is called Forgiveness and the Face of Christ. All right. Does anybody have a page number on in the
In the very back.
In the very back. Hi, Maya. Wonderful to have you all joining our healing circle. And you guys watching on Facebook, don't forget, I love your comments. I love your feedback. I really do. It brings energy to our healing circle. And if you have a question, then feel free to write it and then put it all in caps. That catches my eye. So, right, thank you, Irene. Yes. So, you know, when in all of my sessions, my purpose is always twofold in my Course in Miracles sessions. One is that we actually hear what it's saying, because that's a miracle in itself. Okay, so for starters, what did it just say? And the second part is that we hear how to use it, or that we use it. The Course in Miracles is a practical curriculum. Its purpose is that you hear what it's saying and that you apply it, that you use it in whatever area of your life right now that you're not experiencing perfect peace. That's what it's for. The Course in Miracles is for peace. That's its purpose. Not that you just become, spiritual geniuses, or that you become smarter spiritually so that you can show off your spiritual knowledge. The purpose of A Course in Miracles is not knowledge. The purpose of A Course in Miracles is peace. That you would feel good. That you would have peace of mind. That's what A Course in Miracles is about. It wants you to feel good, right? And so it wants you to have peace in every area of your life. And so whenever you're studying A Course in Miracles, the purpose is always to be like, okay, how could I apply this to this issue, this problem that I've got going on, this place where I don't have peace? Okay, so always be asking yourself that question so that you're not just hearing it philosophically, but you're hearing it as a tool. The Course in Miracles is a tool. The Course in Miracles is curriculum, and it's nothing but tool after tool after tool after tool after tool, so that you can go from having conflict and suffering and sickness and lack to miracles of peace and abundance and healing and joy and holy relationships. All right? So always be looking for the tools, okay, and how to use it. So if you're listening and you don't see how to apply it, but you'd like to have some peace in some area of your life right now, don't hesitate to go, okay, well, how do I apply that in my relationships? How do I apply that with what I got going on in my body? How do I apply that to my finances? How do I apply that to my mother-in-law? How do I apply that to my father-in-law? How do I apply that to you know who? Okay? Awesome. So here we go. So it's section number 2 in the clarification of terms.
It's number 3 in the blue book.
Oh.
Number 2 is different in the blue book.
Oh, interesting. Oh, okay. So, interesting. So it's number 3 in the blue book.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, take that back. So if you're in the blue book, if you're in the blue covered edition, it's section number 3 in the clarification of terms. Thank you. That's all. Hello, Tony. Lucky Winston. Lovely to see you and to feel you. All right. So here it goes. Forgiveness. Forgiveness. It says, forgiveness is for God and toward God, but not of God. So forgiveness isn't from God. Why? Because it is impossible to think of anything that God created that could need forgiveness. Okay? So forgiveness isn't God's idea, because God didn't create anything that needed forgiveness. As you were created, you don't need forgiveness. As you were created and as you remain, you don't even need forgiveness. Beautiful. It says, that's why forgiveness then is an illusion. Forgiveness is what? An illusion. But because of forgiveness's purpose, which is Holy Spirit's purpose, forgiveness has one difference. Unlike all other illusions, forgiveness leads away from error and not toward error. So forgiveness is an illusion, which means it's not real, but it's something, it's an illusion that leads away from error. So basically it's an error that corrects error. What is forgiveness? It's an error because you don't need forgiveness. Nothing really needs forgiveness. Everything remains exactly as it was created by love. But so forgiveness is just an error or an illusion that leads away from error. Okay? So here we are in error, which means we're upset, we're unhappy, we're full of grievances, we're suffering, and so we are in error, and so now we need another error that will lead us out of error. Okay? So first thing that is practical that I hear there is like, okay, so in this area where I'm suffering, this place where I'm upset, this experience where I'm not experiencing peace and abundance and health and joy, that's telling me that I'm in error. So what is this problem? It's an error. Okay? It's not a flaw. It's not somebody else's fault. It's not an unsolvable problem. It is an error. That's the first thing we want to tell ourselves, the truth about whatever we're going through, where we're suffering. What is it? It's an error. Okay? And so, and what is going to be the thing that's going to correct this error, that's going to take me out of this error, that's going to correct this error? Forgiveness. Okay? That's the first thing we want to tell ourselves about wherever we're not experiencing peace and joy and health and abundance. Okay? Tell yourself the truth. Tell yourself something different. This is an error, and the only correction for this error is forgiveness. Okay, great. Everybody got that? All right. So in other words, paragraph 2, forgiveness might be called a kind of happy fiction. What is forgiveness? A happy fiction, What is forgiveness? A way in which the unknowing can bridge the gap between their perception and the truth. That's what forgiveness is. See, the unknowing, which means those who are upset, those folks who are in error, they can't go directly from perception to knowledge. Those folks can't go directly from being totally upset about nothing to total knowledge about the truth of who they are. They can't go directly from perception, misperception, to knowledge. Why? Because these folks, the unknowing, they don't think it's their will to do so. Interesting. Okay, so he's saying that we can't, the only reason that we can't go from totally upset, totally freaking out, stressed out, totally upset, totally sick, totally broke, to total bliss like that, is because we don't think that we can. And we don't think we want to. You know it's true because you can talk to somebody who's really upset and they're really in it and they're telling you the story and they're all upset and they're going to get you involved in it. And then you tell them, well, you know, you could have peace right now. And how are they going to respond to you? I thought you were my friend. No, I can't. I can't just go from totally going off upset to total bliss like that. I can't just go from upset to happiness like that. You know, he says that we don't think that we can just go from total upset, total sick, total broke to total abundance, total health like that. We don't think it's our will to do so. We don't think we can. We don't want to. We want to like massage that grievance. We don't want to just let go of our grievance, do we? I want to massage that grievance for a little while longer. Okay? When somebody tells me I could drop that grievance because it's making me suffer and just go straight to knowledge, which is it's all good. It's all good. Still, only love is real. I still have it all. I still have all innocence, still have all power, still have all love. You know, when somebody tells me, hey, you know, you could go straight from the suffering that grievance has given you right to the fact of the peace that it's all good. And I'm like, no. It's not my will to do that. It's not my will to go from that like that. So, because I don't think it's my will to go from the suffering of my grievance to the ecstasy of it's all good, then we need a bridge. We need a bridge. And what's the bridge? The bridge is forgiveness. Okay? So since I don't want to just go straight from my upset into, hey man, it's all good, we're all one, and we still have it all, nothing's really happened but love, then I need a bridge. I can slowly go from suffering to peace. That's how crazy we are. We want the slow bridge from our suffering or our anger and our grievances back to peace. Wow. All right. And so we were given that, and that's called forgiveness. Forgiveness is the slow bridge where we slowly learn and accept that nothing happened, that only love is real. Only love has happened. Nothing has happened. Nothing has changed. You can't change eternal love. Nobody has been hurt. Nobody has been changed. Nobody has, been changed by what seemed to happen. That's what forgiveness is. It's the slow bridge to that awareness where we practice the truth until we go, oh, right, nothing happened. Only love is still real. That's it. Oh, the only thing that happened then was love. The only thing that's happening now is love. And the only thing that's going to happen is love. Everything else, just made up fantasy. Just the separation we thought occurred, made up fantasy. The lack that we thought occurred, made up fantasy. The damage we believed occurred, made up fantasy. The lack we thought occurred, made up fantasy. The death we thought occurred, made up fantasy. Wow. Okay. that's, we could get to that like that, but since we don't want to, then we have, okay, well, let's practice forgiveness. Let's practice correct perception. Let's practice remembering the truth. And you can do it as fast or slow as you want to. And that's the gift that our Creator gave us, called forgiveness. Okay? It's a happy fiction. It's a happy fiction. It's a game that happy children play, where everybody wins in the end. Okay? All right. And so that's what forgiveness is. Now, because we don't think it's our will to go from suffering to blissed out like that, he says that's what makes God appear to be an enemy instead of what God really is. Okay? And it is just this insane perception that makes us unwilling merely to rise up and to return to God in peace. Wow. We could just go, oh, I was wrong. I'm just going to go right back to truth. That was just made up and it's not even true. I'm going to go back to truth where there's peace. Okay? We could just rise up in an instant and go back to truth, which would bring us immediately back to peace. Okay? Good to know. But because we tell ourselves that, oh, I can't do that, that's what makes God seem like he doesn't love us. That's what makes us fear God. We think God is keeping us from that. All right, so questions or comments so far about forgiveness and what it is and what it enables us to do. Any questions out there? All right. How does it feel to hear this so far? What do you hear it saying about forgiveness? Or even about what you're going through right now and its relationship to forgiveness?
Good.
Does that feel good? Imagine that. How does it, what do you notice that comes up in you when you hear the Course saying you could just rise up in an instant and say, I have no more need of this, it's not even true, and you could go right back to peace? How does it feel? What comes up for you when you hear that? Are you like, no, you don't know what I'm going through? Yeah, you don't know so-and-so that I'm in a relationship with, right? What comes up for you when you hear the Course in Miracles tell you that you could rise up in an instant and return back to truth and back to peace if you wanted to?
Easier said than done.
Easier said than done. You don't know what problems I got going on.
Well, I don't think our problems feel as heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing you say that our problems are simply a misperception.
Yes, exactly. That's
why I
what
drag
I'm saying.
myself in here so often.
That's why you drag yourself in here so often, is because you hear me saying that your problems are just a misperception.
Because I need to keep hearing
Yes,
it.
exactly.
Hearing it.
That's right. I wouldn't be suffering with my problems if I recognized that they were just a misperception. I wouldn't be suffering from them. I wouldn't take them so seriously.
So there's a different way of looking at
That's right. Exactly. When we are suffering with our problems, we are forgetting that they are just a misperception. They're just a wrong perception. I'm just seeing things wrongly, and that's why I have a problem.
Or we might say there's a block in there, right?
Yes,
The awareness of
exactly.
correct perception.
Right, exactly. Right, exactly. And so and thank you for saying that, Todd, because if your problem really is just a faulty formulation of reality, just a misperception, then you could see how literally with one shift in perception, one change in perception, then you're back to peace. Now, the Course in Miracles says that's the definition of a miracle. What's a miracle? Where you are suffering and then you go, oh, there's another way to look at this. And then you look at it another way from a different perspective, and then poof, you're back to peace. And nothing changed externally except your perspective, the way you were looking at it, the way you were interpreting it. And then you're like, wait a minute, seemed like it was a big problem. Nothing changed out here, and then I'm back to peace. Now I'm in ecstasy. Now I'm in joy. What? It was that easy all along, right? But that's what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is just a shift in your perspective. Forgiveness is just a reinterpretation of what you had been misinterpreting. I love that. And that's why it can happen in the blink of an eye, because you can change your perspective or your interpretation in a blink of an eye. You can change your mind in the blink of an eye. We do it all day long. But that's all forgiveness is, okay? So I see it differently.
So this idea that we think it's not our will to do so,
right?
Suggests to me that it's my ownership of what I perceive as my will as separate, as independent from God, that is preventing me from sometimes having that shift in perception.
Yes.
There are many experiences that I've had using the tools in this book where the right prayer in the right moment, when I'm ready to surrender because I'm in so much pain, and literally in moments later, I find some peace.
Yeah.
But in other situations, I can go days beating myself up and not being able to find that shift in perception. And so maybe you can say something more about this.
Yes, exactly.
Willfulness, this
willfulness.
Looking at that same thing.
Yeah, the willfulness is, it's like, there are some days, so you're talking about some days when you've suffered enough, then you'll use the formulas in the Course in Miracles and you'll go right to peace even though you were suffering. Some days, I heard you saying, that you'll be suffering and it'll take you days before you're ready to use the ideas of A Course in Miracles and experience that peace.
Not necessarily. This is my toolkit now.
Yes.
I will bring out the arsenal, but there just because there are times when just because I'm using the tool, it's not. I'm not getting that shift in perception in near real time.
Gotcha.
It may take 24 or 48 or a week before things shift.
Yes, for me, the amount of time it takes is completely determined by how right I want to be about my interpretation. Some days I really, really want to be right about who did this to me. And how if they would change or if they would apologize, then I'd be happy. If they would just acknowledge they were wrong, or if they would just acknowledge what they did to me, or if I have more of a insane desire to be right more than I want to be happy. And so for me, that's the reason why some days it takes longer for me to either use the Course or to accept the peace even though I'm using the Course. Right? So that's the willfulness. I could just go, if I am upset, if I'm suffering, I am wrong. I'm not seeing it correctly. I'm not interpreting correctly. And so I hope I'm wrong, and I would like another way to look at it. Hey, Course in Miracles, what's another way to look at this? Because I don't like the way I feel, and I could have peace like that. But some days I don't want peace like that. Then that's a definition of insanity, which I definitely have. And the definition of insanity is that some days I really would prefer to suffer, so that I could be right about my interpretation about who or how I'm or about how I'm right about how I'm seeing it. And if they were different, I'd be happy. Or if they'd apologize, I'd be happy, right? Some days I'm more insane than others. Some days I really think that I would rather be right, that being right offers me more than peace. And that's when I'm insane.
But if you like the feeling of peace, why can't we connect it and make it, if you like that feeling so much when you're in it, why do we do the other? Where we hold on to the grievance and we say, okay, I just had peace a week, what's the matter with me?
Yes, exactly.
I mean, it's hard to think, well, how stupid we are.
Yes, it is. That's.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you, Julie.
I'm talking about myself.
Yes.
Not,
Can we quote you on that?
but it makes me.
Yes,
what
you
is
feel
wrong with me?
frustrated.
I was just
You
peaceful,
feel.
but now I'm not.
Yes.
Why do I flip back and
Yes.
forth?
So when peace feels so good, then why is it that I'm still going for the desire to be right, which never feels good, which never feels as good as peace does? Why do I keep going back to the grievance, which doesn't feel good, which hurts? Nothing good comes from grievances. But why do I keep going back to them when peace feels so good?
Because I don't stop to ask for another way enough. I get sidetracked.
Yeah, right now we have a split mind. We have a split will. So right now we're going back and forth. The Course in Miracles says we're like one who is still hallucinating, but they realize they're hallucinating. Okay, so we're one who's like still kind of going back and forth, right? And we are in a habit. We are in the habit of misery. We have a misery habit.
I think that the illusion that I hold on to is that for really intractable problems or difficulties that I'm just holding on to really strongly, that only time can erode it. That there has to be a certain passage of time before I can really let go. And to me, that's the fallacy. That's the illusion that I hold on to.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you for saying that. That for you, that you have a belief that you have to deal with it or go through it for a certain amount of time. Time heals all things.
Particularly with loss, right? Relationship loss or something.
Exactly, or grief. We've learned that time heals all wounds. And so we have this belief that it takes time, because we don't believe that it's our own will to just go straight from suffering to happiness. We don't believe it's our will. We don't even believe. That's why we don't believe it's possible. Okay.
I think because we're waiting for perception to bring forth the evidence. Like Christ, he had to wait 3 days trusting that he was going to be resurrected. But he trusted before day one ever came. And with us, we get caught up in getting off the foundation that the teacher of God stands on, which is what? Trust. And once we step off of that, it's not just that we're not trusting in God, but now we're trusting in our plan, which is this person did something to me or whatever. And God's my enemy, or appears to be my enemy, because he's not recognizing what you did to me. And if I don't have something done about it, you're going to do it to me again and again. And so I need to protect myself from it.
Yes, that's right. I can't just have it now. I need to protect myself. Exactly.
Yeah. Yes, when I was looking forward to this class all day.
And
I got a downstairs tenant, and it was about 15 minutes before I was about to leave. And we've been getting along great, and all of a sudden he came up with, you hear him coming upstairs stomping. And it was just, it was roommate type stuff. It was crazy. But my natural reaction was to attack back, to counterattack. And I even for a moment, I'm going to skip Hannah's class. I'm going to let this guy really have a piece of my mind.
I'm going to skip the class on forgiveness. Let the guy have a piece of your mind. Yes,
I get here,
right.
and here's the answer. Right?
Yeah, completely. That's great. Yes.
And exercise some forgiveness.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. Isn't that funny that literally
It
you
was-
came to a class on
I'm
forgiveness?
I'm really
Yeah.
going to just give him a real piece of my mind.
Oh, yeah.
You left, right?
Mm-hmm.
You left for class.
And then he left.
No, I'm not going to do it now.
Yeah.
I mean, you
he's-
didn't do it. You left for class.
No, I left for class.
That's
Yeah,
good.
I was.
Yes.
I was.
That's a great example. Thank
Yeah.
you. That's great.
Yeah, I didn't do it.
Yeah. How about you, Allison? You were going to say something?
I think that, I mean, of course there's grievances with other people, it's easy to say that, but I think one of the things that I run into that I think is also very common is that I get in my own way.
Yes.
I am the one that I have the grievance with.
Yeah.
It is my actions or old processes that I choose to relive over and over again,
Mm-hmm.
such as being overly busy, such as not taking time for myself, and then we feel the repercussions of that, and it might be easy to blame it on the other people, but it really doesn't have anything to do with other people.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then the belief that you can't just go from error to bliss.
Right.
We think that there has to be this time that elapses between the recognition that we're wrong and then the experience of being at peace again.
Flogging.
Yes, I must flog myself for a few
Absolutely.
hours or a few days.
Yeah.
I can't just go, oh, that was an error, and then go right back to peace.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a mistake. And what's the truth? Awesome. And then back to the peace that the truth about you brings, right? I'm telling myself that there has to be this length of time, whereas the truth is I could go, oh, that was a mistake. That doesn't mean anything. Nothing happened. And then what's the truth? Beautiful. And be made peaceful by the truth. The truth about us, the truth about the universe, the truth about life, the truth about what's going on is something that always brings peace. Because peace is an attribute of truth. Peace is an attribute and a quality of reality. So don't ever make the mistake of going, I'm suffering, I'm in hell, but at least I know what's going on. But there's one of our biggest mistakes. The more upset we are, the more we think we see the way it is. And the Course in Miracles says is that no, peace is an attribute of reality, of truth. And unless you have peace, you do not know the truth. You do not know the truth at all. You don't know what's really going on. You don't know what it really means until you have peace. So we could just go, oh, I don't like the way I feel, and so I must be wrong. I'm so glad I'm wrong. What's the truth? And be back to peace. We could just do it like that. If we wanted to. If we wanted to. And the moment that being right and the suffering and the pain and the anger and the suffering of being right is too high of a price to pay, then we'll go, well, I hope I'm wrong. I would like another way of looking at this. What can I lose by asking? I'm already in hell. Right? That's when you will. And that's the forgiveness prayer. The forgiveness prayer goes like this. At least I can say I don't like the way I feel right now. I'm in hell. And so I hope I have been wrong. What can I lose by asking? I want another way to look at this, Spirit. That is and then you say the forgiveness prayer, and then you get your shift, boom, from the suffering of being wrong or the suffering of being mistaken to the peace and the joy of being right, correct perception. What is correct perception? That's perception that's in alignment with truth as created by God, by love. God, which is love. What is God? Unconditional love. That's what God is, by the way. God is unconditional love. Your unconditionally loving spirit parent. That's what God is. Okay? All right. So, I love hearing how I could have instantaneous peace when I want it. When I've suffered enough. Is there any area of your life right now where you have suffered enough? Have you suffered enough? Okay. All right. So, Maya says the reception keeps going in and out. Okay. I'm sorry about that, Maya. I don't know. I don't see anything on my end. Sorry about that. Okay. All right. So here we go. And so paragraph 3. And so we need an illusion of help because we are helpless. What does that mean? That means we need a thought of peace because we are in conflict. Now God knows what you need before you ask. You do? What a thought. God knows what we need before we ask. How beautiful is that? And God is not at all concerned with form, but having given the content, it is God's will that the content be understood. And that suffices. In other words, the form adapts itself to your need. The content is unchanging, which means as eternal as its creator. So God knows what you really need. God knows what you really need, and what God gives to you, the content, the real answer, will take the form of whatever you think you need. Isn't that beautiful? Okay? God knows what you need and He's not at all concerned with the form of what you need. He gives you what you really need. And what you really need takes the form that you will understand, takes the form that you could see it in, and that suffices. In other words, the form of the answer adapts itself to your need. Wow. Okay. So just here it's saying this. God knows you have made up needs. God is not this distant, uncaring force that's like, doesn't see your needs. There are some Course in Miracles philosophies I've seen out there that speak of God as not seeing your needs, not recognizing you have needs. I don't hear the Course in Miracles saying that. It's saying here that not only does God know that you've made up needs, but that God does what? That God knows your needs even before you ask them. That's pretty darn intimate and pretty darn loving, wouldn't you say? Can you just take that in for a moment? That's how deeply we are loved and known by our source, by our parent, by our spirit parent. Now, can we even conceive of being known and loved that deeply? That's really deep, okay? He knows our needs before we even know them ourselves or before we even ask for them. And He is answering those needs in just the form that we think we need them. Let's say He's really answering the real core of the need, but the core, the real need He's answering will conform to whatever the form of your need is. Wow. Okay, so then why don't we turn more quickly to this unconditionally, brilliantly loving genius spirit parent? Why aren't we turning to the spirit parent for our needs faster?
Because some of us are
raised as problem solvers.
That's right. Do it yourself.
Right.
We are a planet of I'll do it myself. I make up my own problems and then I make up my own solutions.
And
Awesome.
solve other people's problems too.
Yes, but not only that, but
It's
then
not
we
just
solve other
us.
people's problems. Oh yeah, absolutely. Wow. What would happen in our lives if our chief problem solving approach was, as soon as we experienced a need, whatever it is, money, peace, health, healing, whatever. I need a new car. I want a holy relationship. Whatever you think your need is, and you took it to your spirit parent, and your spirit parent is like, I'm way ahead of you. I've already answered it. Wow. Okay, but that's what happens when you turn to your source, your loving parent source, with your needs. That's what happens. You go, oh my God, it's already been answered. He answered that before I even asked.
You know,
Dang.
I'm thinking of Alexa.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
how you go to it to
Yes.
ask it questions.
Mhm.
I wish you could kind of reprogram it and say, okay, this is God, so you could really hear
Yes.
God's voice,
Yes.
not just in your mind.
Yes.
And every once in a while, it would just pop on and say what you just
Yes,
said. I'm
right.
way ahead of you. I've already solved
Way
it.
ahead of you.
Just
That's why A Course in Miracles says you don't really have any problems. You say your problem is that you think you have a problem. What are you talking about? Do you mean I don't have, my only problem is I think I have a problem? Yeah, and so, but when you finally do ask, that's when you realize it's already been answered. It's already been heard, and it's already been answered. And not only been answered, but it's been answered in a way you can relate to it. That's what he's saying. That God is not at all concerned with the form of your problem or the form of the answer, but that God answers what the need really is, but it will take the form of whatever you think you need. That's how loving God is. You say, I need a car, God, and he's like, well, I'm not going to give you a car because I know you need love. He's not like that. He's like, okay, I'm going to give you the love, and I'm going to bring it to you in the form of a car. Right? So, but that's what happens when we ask for what we need from our loving parent source, whom you may call God. Wow, amazing. The form of your need, the form of the answer adapts itself to your need. Isn't that loving? So God is so loving. It's not. He's like, you think you need a car? Is that what you think you need? Okay, fine. Then the answer that He gives you, the content of God's answers is always the same. I love you. You are love. The content of God's answer is always the same. You're my child. I love you. Everything I have is yours. Do you want it? Content never changes. I love you. You are love. Here's all my love. But it will take the form of whatever need you think you have. Isn't that amazing? And that's real good, because if I think I have a need for help with rent, I sure do hope that it comes in the form of some rent. You know what I'm saying? God is like, He's not punishing us just because we think our need is form. Just because we're mistaken in thinking that we need something besides love or truth. God isn't like, well, I know you only need truth, so I'm not going to give you that rent money. God's not like that. The content of God's answers is never changing. It's just love, 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 love. Here's some more love. But it will take the form of whatever you think you need. Why? So that you can go, oh, I didn't really need that. But you don't really know that you don't need money for happiness until you have the money, right? Once you get the money, then you're like, oh, money doesn't make me happy. Right? So it's like, he's like, I'll put it in the form that you think you want it in. Why? So that you realize it wasn't the form that you wanted. But until you receive the form, you're going to think you need the form. Right? And so, but it's a beautiful thing when you get the form. I want the relationship, I want the money, I want the house, I want the job, and then you get it, and then you realize, oh, that's not what makes me happy. Great! Now you're even closer. Once you go, oh, it's not the form that I want. But you don't get to it's not the form that I want till you get the form.
So, can you talk a little bit about the inverse case where things seem to be taken away?
Okay. Mm-hmm. So
again, the form, be it a job or
relationship
or whatever,
a body, whatever, money.
It disappears.
Yes.
It ends.
The Course in Miracles in the Teacher's Manual says that as you are learning how to develop your trust in your source to meet all your needs, that you'll go through a process, a period, a phase where things seem to be taken away. And he says the reason that the things seem to be taken away is because in order for you to know for sure that you are sustained by your source, all the things that you have been dependent on, thinking that they're your source, need to go away. As you're developing your trust in your source to meet all your needs, whatever things you thought supported you and sustained you, they got to go. Because how are you going to see that you're totally supported for real by your source while you're still depending on money or that relationship or that body or that job? The valueless, in other words. You know, I still experience lack and fear because I still think that I'm sustained and supplied by that body, by that job, by that money, by that relationship. I need that relationship, right? And so that's why I'm suffering. If I was truly had developed my trust in my spirit parent to meet all my needs, then I wouldn't be stressing out. I wouldn't be putting all that pressure on that relationship. I wouldn't be putting all that pressure on my body. I wouldn't be putting all my pressure in that situation on my job to sustain me. I wouldn't be doing it like that, you know. And if I knew that I was truly being supplied by my spirit parent, then I could have that relationship and that job and that money and that car and that house and that boat or whatever without misusing it. That's it. How could, you know, he's not about, well, you shouldn't have that relationship, you shouldn't have that money because you should only be dependent on God. No. He's saying, first know that you are supported and supplied, take all your needs to your source. Your source is what's supplying your needs. And then you can enjoy the job, the relationship, the body, the money, the car, whatever, without putting all that pressure on it.
So that's the importance of that workbook lesson. God has given me everything I need.
Yes, exactly.
It's helping us to accept that.
That's right.
Universally, generally.
Exactly. In that workbook lesson, lesson 50, I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained, meaning supplied, meaning fed, clothed, housed, protected, supported by source love.
So I'm kind of hearing, maybe I'm off, that if my job is so important to me, that if I lose it or whatever, it's like, well, that was my identity, that was everything.
Yes, right.
I'm gonna crash.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, is that diverting me from my real connection?
Yes, yes.
And so that's what God is saying, is like,
yes.
Okay, if this means that much to you, that you're gonna live and die by.
Yeah, it needs to go.
Yeah.
If
So that was a gift.
Yeah.
Even though you're madder than
That's
you know
what
when it went.
That's what you always find out once you come back to correct perception. You realize that losing that job, that losing that relationship, that losing that money, that losing that house, that losing that blah, blah, blah was the best thing that could have happened to you. That's what you learn once you actually do let those things go and then put your trust into your source. Source, I'm going to trust that you are the one taking care of me, that your love is what will bring me peace and joy, that you are the one who's taking care of me. I'm going to trust that. And then once you have that experience, then you go, man, if I had not lost that relationship, if I hadn't lost that job, I would have never come to that. And, which is the ultimate foundation of sanity. The ultimately strong foundation, where it's a strong foundation like rock. What do they call it? The solid rock of faith. That is knowing that you are sustained by your source's love for you. That's the only solid foundation you could ever stand on. Anything else, you're going to be standing on shifting sands. And you're always going to feel insecure. And you're always going to feel anxious and afraid and suspicious. Right? Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yes. Okay. Awesome. So then it says we're at paragraph 4 in my book. Is it 4 in y'all's book? 4? Okay. The face of Christ has to be seen before the memory of God can return. The reason is obvious. Why? Because seeing the face of Christ is perceptual. So in other words, before I remember my source and how much my source loves me and supplies my needs, he's saying that something needs to happen before that, and that is that I see the face of love, the face of truth. It says, no one can look on knowledge, but the face of Christ is the great symbol of forgiveness. And the great symbol of forgiveness, the face of Christ, is salvation. What does that mean? It means it's the symbol of the real world. And whoever looks on this face no longer sees the world. They are as near to heaven as is possible outside the gate when you see that face, the face of guiltlessness. Yet from this gate, it is no more than just a step inside. But it's the final step, and this final step we leave to God. This face that we see, or this gate, is a symbol too. But as the symbol of God's will alone, it cannot be divided. And so the unity that this face that we see reflects becomes God's will. It is the only thing still in the world in part, and yet the bridge to heaven. Okay, so it's an interesting concept here, is that the thing that enables us to go to knowledge, which is that we are one with our source, is seeing the face of Christ. Now, so seeing this face in the world becomes like a bridge that goes from this world, the world of lack and guilt and death, into the real world. No lack, no guilt, no death. Okay? And so it's talking about seeing a face. Interesting. Now, he's going to go on to talk about what it is, but I'll just give you a little heads up. The face of Christ is when you look out in the world and you see your guiltlessness reflected in somebody else's face. No, so that's what forgiveness is. You know you've forgiven when you look into their face and you only see the reflection of your own guiltlessness, your own innocence, your own beauty, your own perfection. Okay? That's what it means to look out and see that face, the face of Christ. Okay? That's what forgiveness means. Okay, so we're not going to tell ourselves we've forgiven somebody until when we look into their face that we see the shining reflection of our own innocence, our own guiltlessness, and our own sinlessness. Okay, so that's what forgiveness is. So forgiveness is the bridge. Forgiveness is the bridge from one state of mind to another state of mind. Okay? All right. So, then it says, now we're in paragraph 5. God's will is all there is. Okay? That's all there is. We can only go from nothingness to everything, from hell to heaven. That's the journey. What's the journey? We'll go from nothingness to everything. We'll go from hell to heaven. Now, is this a journey? No, not in truth, because truth goes nowhere. But illusions shift from place to place, from time to time. The final step is also but a shift. As a perception, the final step, or forgiveness, is part unreal. And yet this unreal part of forgiveness will vanish. What remains is peace eternal and the will of God. There are no wishes now, for wishes change. Even the wished for can become unwelcome. That must be so, because the ego cannot be at peace. But will is constant. Why? Because will is the gift of God, which means what God gives is always like himself. I love that statement. So he's talking about the will of God, which is constant peace. And then there's the ego, which is never at peace. So when I want you to think of the ego as the thought system in your mind that's never at peace. No matter what it gets, no matter what it gets, no matter what it takes, no matter what happens, no matter how much, never. There's a part of our consciousness that's never satisfied. Okay? And we need to think of this part as the ego, and we need to know this about our ego. That we have this part of our consciousness that's never satisfied. It cannot be at peace. If the ego could be at peace, it wouldn't be an ego. And we need to know that about our ego. We need to know that, so that even when we get all that we said we wanted, even when we get our needs met, even when we don't have a problem and there's still not peace, we can go, oh, that's my ego. Oh, see, that's my ego. I just got what I wanted. It was great. It was beautiful. My prayer was answered. I got what I needed in just the form I needed, just when I needed it. I got the love in the form that I needed it. And where's my peace? Why am I not at peace? Because the ego cannot be at peace. Now, if you can say, gee, I just got my needs met brilliantly in exactly the timing I needed it, but I'm still don't have peace, at least you can go, well, that's my ego. Mm-hmm. That's my ego. That's not allowing, that just can't be at peace. That's what the ego is. And so if you can know that and identify that and say that, then you can set it aside and actually enjoy and experience the peace that from the awareness that your needs are known before you even ask, and you are so loved they've already been answered. And then you can experience and enjoy the peace of that. But you might have to be like, oh, that's my ego. That can't be at peace, even though I got what I said I wanted. Okay? Good to know. It's good to know, because you will experience that. Okay? And we see it in the people around us. The people around us are like, if you would change, I'd be happy. And I'm like, okay, well, all right. And then we change for them. And are they happy? When you change for somebody that they asked you to change, are they happy? No. Never. When people you hear them complaining, well, I don't have enough of this and I don't have enough of that, and if that, blah, 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 and then they get it. Are they happy? Do they have peace? No. Same thing within our own self. Our own ego is like that. So we need to know that about our ego so that we can identify our ego. Okay? So how we doing? All right. It says, so we got ego and we got God's will. God's will is constant peace. Okay? Now, this is the purpose of the face of Christ. It's the gift of God to save us. Just look on the face of forgiveness, and you have been forgiven. How lovely does the world become in just that single instant when you see the truth about yourself reflected in the face of forgiveness. Now you are innocent, now you are holy, and you see it is so. And once you look upon somebody's face and recognize your own guiltlessness and innocence reflected there, then guess what happens? Now your mind returns to its creator. Now you and your creator have joined, and the unity of unities that stands behind all joinings, but beyond them all. God then is not seen, but only understood. You are not attacked, but recognized. Wow. So, in other words, so to me, it's like, what I hear saying that has meaning for me is, this is how to see the world as lovely. Okay? I would like to see the world as lovely. I'd like to see a lovely world. How about y'all? Instead of the world as I typically see it, which is a scary world, a violent world, a vengeful world, a lack-filled world, a really scary world, okay? A world at war. This is a way to see the world as lovely, a lovely world. How lovely does the world become? How lovely does the world become in that single instant when you look into another person's face and see your own guiltlessness, your own innocence shining back at you, reflected in their face. That's what forgiveness gives us. That's what forgiveness does. Forgiveness enables you to see the face of love, the face that reflects your guiltlessness. That's why we want forgiveness. That's why forgiveness offers us everything we want. As I forgive, which means as I correctly perceive, and I see your sinlessness and your sinlessness and their sinlessness and the president's sinlessness and everyone's sinlessness reflected in my sinlessness reflected in their face, all I see is a lovely world instead of a scary world. That's what forgiveness gives me. And as I practice correct perception, as I practice forgiveness, that's what I'm going to see when I look at the world. Loveliness. So I want to practice forgiveness. I want to practice correct perception. That's what I want. Okay? Why? Because I really want to have a different experience of being in the world. I don't want to see a scary world. I don't want to see a violent world. I don't want to see a world full of lack and a world at war. Which means forgiveness is what I want to see. Forgiveness is a choice. How does it go? I want to see this differently. I want to see this another way because I don't like how seeing it is making me feel. I want to see this person in a different way because how I'm seeing them does not make me feel good. What can I lose by asking? I want another way to see this. I want another way to see them. And then when you ask for correct perception of anything or any person, you will be answered. It's impossible that you ask for correct perception and not be answered. The Course in Miracles defines the Holy Spirit as the great corrector of perception. Oh, great corrector of perception. I ask for another way of looking at this person because I don't like the way I feel right now. Now, that is a prayer that never, ever, 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 ever could go unanswered. Ever. Because the great corrector of perception was created to answer that prayer. That's what Holy Spirit was made for by God. God was like, I'm going to create this spark, this voice within you, that whenever you would like to have your perception corrected because you don't like the way you feel, it will be right there and it will answer your prayer with a corrected perception that will bring you peace.
And build a bridge for you.
And build a bridge for you. And that's what it is. With every correct perception, with every corrected perception you ask for, it's another step in the bridge. It's another log on the bridge. Now the bridge, it's just another, every corrected perception, another log on the bridge, another log on the bridge, another log on the bridge, another log on the bridge. To what? To the lovely world. Who would like to go to the lovely world? I want to go to the lovely world. Yes.
Where we create the good and the beautiful and the holy.
Where all we're doing is creating the good, the beautiful, and the holy. Amen to that. Instead of a bunch of drama. Has anybody had their fill of drama this week so far? Has anybody had their fill?
It's only Monday.
And it's only Monday? Yes. I've had my fill and it's only Monday. So this is the bridge to the lovely world where all you're doing is creating the good, the beautiful, and the holy, not a bunch more drama. Yes, dear.
How could you coach someone who's in chronic pain? That the reason for their chronic pain is only in their thoughts.
Gotcha. How would I coach someone who's in chronic pain that their chronic pain is in their thoughts?
It's easy if somebody's having bad
Right.
thoughts.
Right.
That's,
Right.
that's a conversation, but if it is,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay. So, so the way that I would coach them is I would ask them this question. If you could have a different experience of your body, if you could have a different interpretation of your body, if it was possible, would you like one? I would start with that, by asking that question. So, and then if they said yes, then I would say, well, let's ask together for a different interpretation of your body. And then we would ask together, because it's not my job to produce that corrected perception, or else I would have no issues with my body. So my only job is to say I ask for a different perception. I ask for a corrected perception of my body. We ask for a corrected perception of our body. We ask for a different interpretation of our body. And it's the great corrector of perception whose job it is to answer that. And so then the great corrector of perception then comes in and gives to this person a new possibility that maybe this person had not ever thought of. Like, I wonder if my stress is having anything to do with my immune system being so low that I'm experiencing chronic fatigue or whatever. Do you see that? Now, once that person goes, hey, I wonder if there's a connection between what's inside me, my mind, my stress, and what's going on in my body, bing, that's a miracle. Okay? Even if that person doesn't know the truth, if they say, I wonder if the stress that I'm experiencing in my mind has something to do with the suffering I'm experiencing in my health, I wonder if there's a connection. Well, that's a miracle. And the great corrector of perception takes it from there. So all I have to do is ask that question. That's just what I would do. I'd ask him a question. If you could see this a different way, if you could see your body a different way, would you be willing? Would you be interested? So that's what I would do. That's how I would respond.
So would it be your body
Thank you.
or pain or lack of like insomnia?
Whatever it is that they think that
Is it
there's,
the
whatever it
issue,
is
or
that,
is it the body?
first I would ask about the body. Yeah. Or I might ask about the symptom as they see it. So, yeah, good question. All right, guys. So Sarka says, I was witnessing my ego in action today. I knew what I was doing was complete opposite of peace, but I kept reacting in the way I was while being aware of my reaction being wrong. Why? Great question, Sarka. And by the way, Sarka, we all do the same thing. On this journey, on the bridge of forgiveness, on the journey of forgiveness, Sarka, the bridge, we're all taking a few steps forward and going a few steps back. While we're on the bridge, that means that we don't have total correct perception. We are still practicing. So that's part of the journey. Part of the journey is you go, oh, there's another way of looking at this? How wonderful. While still at times, and then you're like still reacting like you used to, and then going, oh yeah, I forgot. Oh yeah, I forgot. And then you use the truth, you get the miracle. Oh, that's so amazing. And then you take a few steps back, and then you start reacting like you used to. And then you remember the truth sooner, and you get the miracle. And it's wonderful. And then you forget again. And then you remember even sooner to use the truth, and you get the miracle, and it's wonderful. Do you see? So the miracles are cumulative. So, at first it takes you years to apply the truth. And then it takes you months to remember the truth. And then it takes you only weeks to remember. And then it only takes you days. And then later it takes you only minutes. And then later it only takes you seconds. But it's still the best progression. You're still progressing. And remember what the Course says, infinite patience produces immediate results. So the more patient you are with yourself while you're learning, which means while you're still doing trial and error, the more patience you have with yourself as you're learning, the faster you will learn. The guiltless learner learns quickly because their thoughts are free. So be a guiltless learner, Sarka, like I'm trying to be. Don't feel guilty about still learning. Forgive yourself. Be a happy learner. Be a guiltless learner. Oh, I'm still learning. Yes.
And one of the rationalizations I try to remember about that recurring frustration about how I'm not applying what I already know in a different situation is that part of this teaching is to generalize these lessons.
Yes.
We're getting specific,
Yes.
we're getting very, very specific
Yes.
examples of it, but we keep encountering some of the same content over and over again because we're trying to be shown that this
The
forgiveness
generalization.
is to be generalized.
Yes, exactly. Yes, to whatever we haven't generalized the truth to, that stuff needs to still keep coming up. So that you'll go, oh, and how about this? Is this an exception to the truth? Oh, no, it's not. Great. And then any other place you're making an exception in the truth, well, that needs to come up too. Like I've been applying it to money. Great, I've been getting some money miracles, but I've been making an exception when it came to my relationship. I haven't been applying it there. Okay, great. Now you have some relationship problems. Okay, is your relationship an exception? Oh, I guess not. I applied to my relationship. Oh, look, I got miracles. And then, oh, but I wasn't applying it. I was making exceptions of the truth and applying it to my body. Okay, great. Oh, well, now you got physical stuff coming up. Is your body health an exception to what A Course in Miracles is saying? No. Oh, so I apply it to my health stuff. Oh, now I'm getting health miracles. Awesome. So wherever, the Course in Miracles says there's no order of difficulty in miracles. And the miracles that seem the hardest are the places that you are not applying the truth to. You're still making an exception. Well, I can't apply the truth to my relationships. I can't apply it to my body. So the miracles that seem difficult those are the exceptions that you're making. Where it's like, I'll apply the truth to here, but not over here. So That's the only thing that makes us believe that healing cancer is harder than healing the common cold. Because I'm making cancer an exception. I'm not taking these ideas and applying it right there. Okay? So that's what you were saying, is that this is a journey in, okay, applying it to this place where you had been making an exception. The goal of the curriculum is to generalize these ideas until we have allowed these ideas to be applied to everything and everyone. Okay, that's the goal of the evolution, the spiritual evolution that we are on. Okay, awesome, great questions. Thank you, Sarka, for that question. Thank you guys for your thank you for your question. I love y'all's juicy, authentic, honest questions. I love them. I eat them for lunch. Arr, 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 arr. You know why? Because I know I don't have to know the answer. That's why. As you're asking them, I'm going, oh, okay, Spirit, there's one for you. All right. So now we're going to do announcements, and then we're going to do our integration meditation. So announcements are this, and then would somebody be willing to pass the basket around? So announcements.
Because you're eating them for lunch, that's why you're so tiny.
Oh, that's the best weight loss diet ever.
Okay.
I eat exceptions for lunch. All right. Thank you, my dear. Love you, girl. All right. So announcements are this. I do 2 live streams a week, Mondays and Wednesdays from 7 to 8:30 p.m. On Wednesdays, I do the Course in Miracles, the complete and annotated edition. I do that online. I do it on Facebook. And this one, Mondays, 7 to 8:30 p.m. I do here at the Miracle Center, but I also live stream that. And so you can find my classes by either going to my Facebook page and scrolling down, or you can go to my YouTube page and find my classes as well. And I just want to encourage you guys. I want to go to do YouTube live stream, but I can't until I have at least 1,000 subscribers. I have like 860 right now. So I need you guys to go to YouTube, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, so that I can go do a live stream on YouTube. Okay, it's a better live streaming platform in my perception. I'd like to try that. And on my YouTube channel, I have Course in Miracles readings. I've got Course in Miracles meditations. I've got classes from years ago. So there's a ton of Course in Miracles material on my YouTube channel. So my last name is spelled Kujawa. So go to my website, to my YouTube channel, hit subscribe and like, and then soon all my classes will be on YouTube. And it's easier for you guys to see all my classes when they're all on YouTube. It's just more user friendly. It's more interface friendly. And people don't have to be on Facebook. So go to YouTube and subscribe. Thank you for that. Beautiful. All right. And if you would like to learn about my holistic counseling practice, Miracle Psychotherapeutics, go to my website, annakujawa.com, and you can learn about it or schedule a session. All right. I appreciate you guys so much. I really, really, really do. And now let's do our integration meditation. So in the integration meditation, we're just going to listen to some music, and we're going to do whatever the instructions were. So just close your eyes and take a breath. And just feel how these ideas feel in your heart, in your mind, and in your body. And how does it feel to hear these ideas in a beautiful circle of mighty companions, miracle mates, You are in a holy relationship. You have made very real relationships, even here, that you just don't know about. You are in a circle of loving relationships, holy relationships. People with whom you do share a common purpose with. Beings who are loving you and who are being loved by you. Beings who are helping you and beings who are being helped by you. And so for a moment we just tune our awareness in to this healing circle we are part of. The Course in Miracles calls it the circle of atonement, the circle of healing, the circle of unity consciousness. Now I want you to bring to your awareness a situation or a relationship in which you are not experiencing peace. Whatever form that lack of peace takes, body, mind, or spirit. And I want you to bring that situation or that relationship into your awareness. And I want you to feel the lack of peace. I want you to notice how that lack of peace feels. Beautiful. Now we are going to do the forgiveness practice as A Course in Miracles teaches us to do. So that we can use this situation to take us home to peace. So that we can use this situation as a bridge. So that we can allow Spirit to use this relationship or situation to build the bridge to the real world, the lovely world. And so, tuning in to what we are feeling that's not peace, let us say to ourselves, let us tell ourselves, I do not like how I feel right now. Just take note, this doesn't feel good. This hurts. This is scary. Guilt hurts. Fear hurts. And you can say to yourself, at least I can decide I don't like what I feel right now. Tell yourself something different about this situation for once. At least I can decide I don't like how I feel. And so I hope I have been wrong. I really do. I really hope I'm wrong about what I've decided. I really hope I'm wrong about how I've interpreted this. Because I don't like the way I feel. And I want to feel better. And then addressing the great corrector of perception, Spirit, saying to Spirit, I would like another way of interpreting this. I would like another way of looking at this. What can I lose by asking? Great corrector of perception, how do you see this? What does this look like through your eyes? What does this look like through your interpretation? What do you know is true here? What's your interpretation of this, Spirit? Loving Spirit. And then listen and breathe. to look once again upon the face of whomever was involved, whomever you were misperceiving, whoever was involved in that situation where you obviously were not perceiving correctly because you weren't happy. I want you to look on their face, and I want you to see the face, their face, reflecting your guiltlessness, your sinlessness, your innocence. See their face radiant with forgiveness for you. See them looking at you, remembering the truth about you and themselves. See their face as they remember that it was nothing really happened but love, and it was just a mistake. And only love is real. See their face saying, it's all good. We're still one. Nothing really happened but love. It was just a mistake. And then see in their face their gratitude to you. So that where once you saw an enemy, now you see the best of friends, your Savior. And take a breath and feel the release. Feel the ecstasy of forgiveness. Feel the bliss of correct perception. Feel the joy in guiltlessness. Breathe it in. And let the heat and the malice and the franticness and the anxiety of your grievance, your false perception, fall away. And see how light you feel without that grievance. See how good it feels when that grievance is gone. When you let it go, you lay it down. And breathe it in. Beautiful. And I want you to imagine hearing them say thank you. And I want you to imagine the great corrector of misperception itself telling you thank you. And I want you to hear God himself telling you, thank you for releasing my child. Thank you. And take a breath. Beautiful. And then just take a breath, a deep breath, and begin to bring your awareness back to the room. Wiggle your fingers and your toes and your innocent, sweet little nose. You are so innocent, and it shows. I appreciate you all so much. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you so much. Hi, Rita. All right. Good job. Good work. Good work. Good work. We co-created tonight. We co-created healing for ourselves and healing for the world. On behalf of the world that you helped to heal tonight, thank you. Thank you. I thank you and the world thanks you. All right, back out into the forgiveness lab with you. Where you go learn to generalize.